Hello everybody. It's been a while since I posted a video, but I wanted to share one of the highlights from the Encounter Conference up in Grand Rapids, Michigan. If you've never been, make plans to go next year. A lot of you watching, I know you were there, and so it was awesome. So this personally for me was one of the highlights, and I think God was teaching me a lot through this experience. So I was coming back from dropping somebody off, and there's a lot of people at this conference. I think there was 3,500 people, and Encounters run by one of my friends. His name's Patrick Reis, and when I came back, I saw Patrick and my other friend David, and they were in this foyer area. It was a big hotel, and I saw them sitting, Indian style in this big area and just talking. And so I went over. It turns out that they were talking to this girl who was not at the conference. Her and her friend were out for a night on the town just to have fun. They were young, early 20s probably, elegantly dressed. But they come to find out they had been engaging my friends, Patrick, David, and then there was, I think, about 4 Encounter Year 1 students that were there. And they were interested, they were curious, oh, what's going on? What are you doing? And they said, oh, we're praying. And so this girl became interested, almost in an kind of an antagonistic way, and they said they really started to engage her in, well, what are your beliefs? And I think this is really awesome. Patrick really gave a great teaching on, all right, you always want to redirect, you don't want to enter into this deconstructive mode that they're in, and get in these arguments. It's tough to evangelize somebody like that. So they begin to share, just ask her about her beliefs, and then they asked if they could share on their beliefs. And what they did was awesome. They actually preached the gospel to her. And it's really, I talk about this all the time, just inviting somebody to hear the gospel, because what they may have heard might be skewed in all this. And so they were able to preach the gospel. They used this tool, Jesus at the Door, as well. And at the end of that, this girl still was not necessarily willing to accept Jesus into her life. Turns out she had been hurt by some church members growing up, and that was a real block for her, but she was open to prayer. And I love this about this method of preaching the gospel. Patrick kind of led her through this. He kind of recognized that, John 3, where Nicodemus comes to Jesus in the night and is curious, has all these questions, and then he tells Nicodemus about the Spirit. This is, how do you don't know. The Spirit's like the wind. It comes and it blows. You don't know where it comes from or where it goes. And he kind of related that to, hey, you're kind of like Nicodemus. Like you're interested, what's going on here. But I want to ask you that question. How do you know the wind is real? Well, you can feel it, right? And so she was open for us to pray for her to have an experience from God, but you can still tell there was a little bit of skepticism there. And we said, we're just going to pray. We're going to go around and share what God gives us. And she was open to that. And as they were going around, I was praying for this girl. I was asking the Lord to give me a word for her. And this is what I'll just kind of take you through that process. And again, it was really quick in my mind as they're praying. I'll describe it this way. I had, one part of me was in heaven. The other part was kind of like, okay, let me pay attention to what's going on in their conversation. But I felt like as if God was showing me these cards. And so as I began to pray more into it, I couldn't tell where she was, what if that was something she liked to do or go to Las Vegas or something like that. But the more and more I prayed into it, I actually asked God, I felt directed to ask God, well, what kind of card game is that? And so when I asked that question to God, it became more clear. The vision became more clear. And in my mind, I'm seeing more of it was like a family setting, I guess. And again, it's not 100% clear. But then the cards begin to become clear. It looked like a bunch of spades. And then I asked God, what game is that? And I felt like he did say it was spades. And I asked why, why, what is this? And I felt as if there was a great joy in the atmosphere and that she was part of this. I couldn't see her directly in the vision, but I just felt like there was people around. It was a family setting, and it might have even been around Christmas, and that they were enjoying this game of spades. And so again, there's this element of stepping out in faith that, wow, I could say this and it could be totally wrong and it has nothing to do at all, and it could push this person away. They could think you're strange. But I stepped out in faith. I delivered the word, and it really impacted this girl. She had this look on her face and said, I forget how she phrased it, but she said, wow, actually, spades is a really important game for our family. And what her question was, what does that mean? And I was kind of intrigued by that, because I tried to explain really quickly, that we prophesy in parts, but again, Patrick was kind of under the impression, that's maybe not where we need to go right now. But we tried to explain to her, that she was seen, that she was loved. And anyways, as I was reflecting on this event, I was really drawn back to 1 Corinthians 14, and I want to read this to you. It says, if therefore the whole church assembles and all speak in tongues, and outsiders or unbelievers enter, will they not say that you are mad? But if all prophesy and an unbeliever or an outsider enters, he is convicted by all. He is called to account by all. The secrets of his heart are disclosed, and so falling on his face, he will worship God and declare that God is really among you. And so a twofold thing here. Number one, I was really kind of struck myself when I came back and I saw my friend Patrick and my friend David and these other men sitting there having a prayer meeting right in the middle of this hotel. It literally looked just like, Jesus sitting down with the disciples. And I was really struck by that. And that's the reason I came over. And again, so I think sometimes we think of, the church is coming together as this massive amount of people, but it can really be as simple as a few people praying. And that's what this was. They were all believers, right? And this girl was walking by who was an unbeliever. And what happened? She came into this prayer meeting she got to hear the gospel, which she necessarily wasn't, well, it's her choice, her free will. She wasn't receptive to that for whatever reason, but in that prayer meeting, we were open to the prophetic gifting. And what did it do? I think it broke something open. It says prophecy is for believers. So that's what, I'm sorry, backing up just a little bit. It says, thus tongues are a sign not for believers, but for unbelievers, while prophecy is not for unbelievers, but for believers. So I don't know. It was kind of, I was reading that and I'm thinking, well, I thought that here's this girl, she's an unbeliever, but yeah, necessarily, but at one moment, this prophetic word was for her. And then I started thinking about it. Well, actually, it was in the context of this prayer meeting. You know, prophecy is for believers. So when we gathered as believers and we're praying with somebody, the prophecy is for us to give. And then this unbeliever entered in, and I really believe that what happened here is this, she was convicted. Again, there was a conviction that happened, and the secrets of her heart were disclosed. And I really do believe that she felt in that moment that God was amongst us. And actually, Patrick asked her that question, do you believe that Jesus is here right now? After hearing that. And she said yes. So, again, I'm just relaying this experience, not because I totally understand it, but because prophecy is a real gift, and I was so grateful that I received that word, but also I was grateful to pray with other believers. Anytime we get together, anytime we pray, something happens. And so, yeah, that really was impressed on me. I really felt as if the Lord was drawing me into deeper discipleship. I was sitting there, I was learning from Patrick as he was leading her through the gospel, as he was so gentle and kind with her. And then also these other students, I think that they were really hungry for the Holy Spirit. And again, God, it says God is with these people when they come into that kind of prayer meeting and you begin to prophesy and the prophetic words are striking them in the heart, something happens to them. And so in your prayer meetings, in your personal prayer meetings, I encourage you to begin to speak in this way, to begin to speak out words of prophetic utterance. And they can be very powerful. So, I don't know. I hope this helps you. There's so much more to share from the conference. Geez, it would take me forever to go through all the things. But it was really amazing. But just a little highlight for you. I hope you enjoy that. I hope this feeds you. That's why I do these videos. And yeah, also pray for that girl that, you know, I don't know if I'll ever see her again, but I believe that God showed up in her life that day. And so just to end with this, I want to also say thank you to Pope Benedict XVI. He just passed away. I want to really honor his life and his influence in my life. If you ever get a chance to read some of his writings under Cardinal Ratzinger, Joseph Ratzinger, or under the title of Benedict XVI, I would really encourage that. Jesus of Nazareth is an amazing book. Spirit of the Liturgy. There's so many others, but I just really believe that he was a holy man, and want to honor him today. And I pray that the church can really give him honor, which they are giving him honor. But thank you, Pope Benedict, for what you've done in my life. And I just pray a blessing over everyone who watches this video. All of those that went to the Encounter Conference, I had so much fun with you. It was so good to be with friends. And I pray a blessing over you. And whatever God gave you at the conference, I pray that you can steward that and really advance the kingdom. So blessings again. I will talk to you soon. God bless.